Good morning. 9 o'clock, straight up. December 20th, 2022. I'm going to get an audio check over here. There he is. Yep, I hear you, Doug. 5x5. UPC, I spelled the word you're wrong. How about that? UPC questions answered here. Windows Daily number 118. So I'm going to duplicate this tab, move it over to my monitor number 3. That way I can spot chat room over there if you're telling me there's something going wrong with the stream. And then on this one, I'll pop out chat. Say hello to some people, and then we'll get into the topic today. Hang on a moment. Morton, hello, Rick, Parker, Rick. Oh, Rick, did you get your Facebook RoboForm situation resolved? If not, would you want to come into Zoom this morning? Because I got some thoughts from what I heard about it yesterday and questions for you. That could wind up being today's show. So BH Ringer, hello, and George, hello, Ran Israel, BH Ringer, Brian Lightfoot, I'm recognizing your name now, so we're gonna turn you blue. And I'm sure I recognize your name from Carrie's channel too. BH Ringer asking people to hit the thumbs up and subscribe button, coffee in hand, mouse in other, keyboard in another hand. That's a lot. You got 3 hands. I don't know. We kind of restrict things around here to human beings. Where are you from anyway? Just kidding. Finally stopped raining. Yes, I did. So he did fix the problem last night. So we won't be going there. Hello, Catherine Anna Hauserman. Yeah, I think I got it. But what were your thoughts, Doug? Oh, okay, sure. And Dennis stopped his stream moments ago. What I heard, I listened to the show, watched the show this morning, listened mostly. And what I heard coming out is that you were trying to sign into Facebook with a different account than what your computer was automatically populating in the account field. And so you guys were going into RoboForm to try to create the account there. It seems, if I'm understanding right, just change the email address on Facebook, manually sign in with the other account. Type in the new email address, type in the password that you have for the other Facebook account, and then sign in, and then RoboForm will prompt whether you want it to remember that password or not. My understanding is that when you're going to Facebook, it was showing the email address, the Facebook account name that you didn't want to use. And you couldn't see there how to get RoboForm to offer your different one. We have to sign in manually to Facebook, click the sign in button or whatever it's called there, and then tell RoboForm to remember that account. So I don't know if that's what you actually had going on, because there was a lot of conversation going back and forth. And Catherine and Jeff, I have the same switch as you, the same switch. Oh yeah, there's a switch back there. That is because I just ordered 2 of these, and I did a non-audio unboxing, meaning I just recorded me unboxing this because I had to do this yesterday. I ordered one that was a regular, just a switch, and this one is a smart switch. And I want to connect this one up here and show people around what you can do with a smart switch. So the other one that was not a smart switch, I took that to my client's office because he had his switch that just stopped working. It wouldn't even power on. And I tried to put in a loaner switch. I had a couple used switches in my box of my bag of tricks, my box of stuff that I carry around with me. And neither of them worked either. What? I wouldn't hold on to this if it wasn't actually working when I replaced it, but neither of them worked. So I ordered a new one and then came back on Monday, yesterday, and installed that. We got him through Friday okay because we were able to connect enough computers directly into his 4-port Comcast router/switch in order to get them functional. Rick says it was defaulting to the wrong email address. Yes, because that's the only address that your computer knew for Facebook. And it may have been in your browser that was causing it to populate rather than RoboForm. But my guess is that RoboForm and your browser both only knew that one account. It was defaulting that email address. Just type in a different email address. Oh, no. So let's go see what that looks like. That was on Facebook. Get over here to a new tab. Go Facebook.com. And let's see if I can replicate this. I'll sign out of this account, log out. And then if it's auto-populating an address here, like suppose that one, see, but browser will automatically populate the address, but RoboForm is not automatically populating the address. If you go into settings for your browser, it's different depending upon whether you're Google Chrome or whether you're Edge or something else. In Google Chrome, it's autofill and then password manager and then search passwords for Facebook.com. And we see that I have that listed as never save. When you have RoboForm installed, your browser will still continue saving passwords unless you tell it to not offer to save passwords. So I'm suspecting that your browser was filling that in. So let's, whatever that was, it was in here as old address at something.com. And at this point, what do I do? Well, just highlight this and type in the address that you want to use because your browser and RoboForm don't have that remembered yet. Then put in the password and then click login. And then RoboForm should offer to remember that password. But you can't, if you try to create it in RoboForm first, yeah, I don't trust that very much because we need RoboForm to see this URL that's up here, and perhaps you'll get it okay. But that was my thoughts on it, and I may have been that may be off target because I wasn't involved in the conversation. There's Catherine asking all to like the video, please. Thank you so much. I'm not sure either what was going on. Just glad I got it switched over. And Dennis also have that switch, but I haven't messed with it. It's collecting dust. So you mean the smart switch, as opposed to the other switch? The other switch looks exactly. The box looks exactly the same. The switch looks exactly the same, except right up here on that little lettering, one of them says smart switch, and the other, well, doesn't. Doesn't use the word smart. Eric Anderson, hello to you. Interesting to see set up and use the switch, and that's not today. Rick, mine is not saving passwords. I turned that off. I think so. The browser he turned off, but it's not offering to save passwords going forward. But maybe that password's already in there, which means you need to go remove it from the password settings. So if you find it could be here in saved passwords, even though you've told the browser not to save passwords anymore. So if it is in here, when you go to Facebook, it'll automatically populate that. Eric Anderson retracted a message. And then Dennis has a smart switch. All right, I'm gonna go take a look at comments. There's one or two things that I've still got in my channel comments. Oh, over here. Let's see what these are about. There's 17 days ago. Let's do that one first since that's the older one. And this was Paul responding. I responded to him in I guess in this Windows Daily. It says, thank you, Doug, for reviewing my comment. Let's make that bigger. I'm sorry I was not very clear in my issue and question. So my ISP was offering me a package with 800 megabits per second download speed, and I was receiving between 800 to 900 megabits per second. Well, that sounds fine. The amplifier that was found to be bad was causing my download speed of under 100 megabits per second. So yeah, he told us about the technician that came out from the ISP and found that there was this amplifier going bad. After they replaced the bad amplifier, they stated they were moving to a 1.2 gigabits per second plan, and I would be upgraded for free. Since the amplifier was replaced, My current max download speed is 400 megabits or less. My upload speed is 40 megabits per second, so not getting what you're supposed to be getting. I am currently paying for a 1 gigabits download speed, and the ISP mobile app allows you to track, monitor, fix, etc. Now, when he says currently paying for 1 gigabits per second, this piece up here where they were offering 800 megabits per second download speed, I think what he's meaning there is that he was supposed to be getting at least 800 megabits per second while paying for 1 gigabits per second. Little unclear. Why would they be offering a package that's lower than 1 gigabits per second? So I'm kind of doing a little interpolating there, I think. That's the wrong word. But let's move on. According to their app, the input into their modem, I rent it from them, is showing 1+ gigabits into the modem. Output, both wired and Wi-Fi, is 400 megabits or less. We don't usually use the terms, I haven't come across using the terms input and output from the modem. I'd say the WAN side and the LAN side of the modem is my thinking. So I'm pretty sure they mean the input is the signal coming into the modem, which kind of makes sense. This app is claiming that that is showing 1 gigabits per second. Now, how is it testing that? Is it that the signal is claiming that, or is it actually performing at that level under load? But it can't be performing at that under load because none of the computers are able to drive it that far. So somehow this app is reading from somewhere that the modem claims it's getting a 1 gigabits per second, but that's not under load. There's no power, no force that can accurately be measured if it's not under load, if it's not actually performing. If it's just claiming that, I don't know. Maybe it's working, maybe it's not. If you can log in to the programming interface of that modem and do an upstream speed test, and it's actually doing some data transfers to do that test, that would be a little more believable. But I don't know what the app is doing. The output, both wired and Wi-Fi, is 400 megabits per second or less. Now, I want to know, is that with a single computer connected directly by a single Ethernet cable that's known to be good, maybe even get one that's brand new, connected directly to that modem, and do the speed test. Now, then also check the capabilities of your computer. So down here in the bottom right corner, underneath my picture-in-picture right now, that's where I'm moving the mouse to get your attention. Right click on that, choose Open Network and Internet Settings, then come up here to Change Adapter Options, and then go to your network adapter here and right click on it and Status. Make sure that your computer is claiming to be at 1 gigabits per second, because if there's an Ethernet connection or a switch in the middle, or if the actual adapter on the computer is misperforming, it will automatically downgrade here. So is it showing a downgrade here is a piece that I want to know. Then a next step to go to is you could connect two computers to through this router. Did he call it, or do we know if it's a switch and a router? Oops, I got to get back to the right place. I don't know that we got that, because I think he called it a modem. But anyway, can you connect two computers through that and do a speed test between the two computers? Offhand, I don't know an app or a website right offhand or where you would do that, but you could just connect the two computers and do a copy operation across the browser. And this I think you can click on detail information and see the speed that's going across, or you could go into Task Manager there, and I got to drag it over here. While you're copying from one computer to another, come over here to the Performance tab and click on your network adapter and check the speed that it's transferring from one computer to another. So there you're testing the capability of the switch and the rest of your equipment, your Ethernet cables, switches if you have them. Now, I don't think I finished saying that when you connect a computer directly to the ISP's device to do a speed test, everything else should be disconnected from it. No other computers, no other switches connected to it. So does that still show a slow connection, right? And this screen here, when you're copying from one computer to another, both connected straight to that device, are you getting the higher speed here? This is all just troubleshooting, trying to narrow down where the actual problem is coming from. Now, what else he says, as far as I know, he might have already fixed it. I'm just throwing out thoughts based upon the wording here. It just gives me stuff to converse about, which could help somebody else in a different problem. I have swapped out the ISP modem with them 4 times, and they cannot explain why there is such a difference. And that piece right there makes me think that it might not be their problem. Now, I think that you've heard me say these things before, but I haven't got an actual response back. Yes, I connected one computer directly to the device, nothing else connected, did a speed test, still only get 400 megabits per second, and then connect 2 computers to that device and copy a file, huge file, between the 2 and see what the performance is, trying to narrow down where the true problem is. Finger pointing doesn't help anybody unless you actually get to the right solution. If the input speed was low, I would understand the low output. No one from their company can seem to explain what's going on. This line right here is what drives me to connect 2 computers to that device. See if you can go through at the full speed. Also eliminate any switches. Switch to a new Ethernet cable. Check that speed setting that I showed in the status window. This one here. So their technicians, the ISP technicians, do not know how to troubleshoot problems on computers. Usually don't. Because if they do know that, they would typically move on to another job. When you're working for an ISP like that, you have a very, in my opinion, small piece of the overall issue, and they are not expected to be able to fix problems that are on the computer or in the network or on some other device that's on the network. I've had a number of technicians out and still no fix. That also doesn't dissuade me from what I've been suggesting here either, because I don't know, are those amateur technicians? Are they technicians that work in a large corporate environment and aren't experienced with troubleshooting this kind of thing? Just because you have a technician, even multiple technicians come out and they can't find it, really all that means to me is that you haven't got a technician that works in this area of IT, because there's lots of different specialties for technicians, and it doesn't bother me at all that nobody has found it. It still could be a very simple solution. As to your question of whether it's worth pursuing, it was a matter of whether or not to keep this higher package or downgrade to a slower plan since I'm not getting the fast download speeds that I'm paying for. That's a reasonable thought. And if you're only using one computer, I don't care if you are getting 1 gigabits per second. If you're not doing massive file uploads and downloads, if you're not a content creator, and even then, you don't need those kinds of speeds. You don't have multiple people in the home using it at the same time. It's irrelevant to have 800 megabits per second. You never need, most users never need that. Most users, 20 megabits per second, 50 megabits per second download, and 10 megabits per second upload it's all most single users are ever going to use. So even if you were getting speed tests at those high numbers, I'd say, why are you paying for that? You cannot possibly use that unless you have multiple people and you're doing big file uploads and downloads and things like that, like I do here. I don't know what your reality is. Thank you again for replying to my comment. Content. So that was 17 hours ago. Is Paul in chat? There's a novel idea. Let's see, that's where I left off, looking through the names to see if Paul is there. No, I don't see Paul. So let's go tell Paul I replied to him again. Come over here to the share button for today's live stream, copy that, and then come back to this channel comment, and I'll reply to that. Hi, Paul. I replied again in this video. Eager to hear back from you. Then paste that link. So we'll see if we hear back from him again, and I will, you know what? No, I'm going to not thumbs that up yet, because that way it stays on the screen. So if he replies again, then I'll be able to see them in sequential order here. Well, he won't be replying on this video, but he'll reply on today's video, not that one. But this, I'll keep this comment here for a bit. Pineapple Road. You know what? No, I'm going to go catch up with chat, see if there's any other questions in there. Eric Anderson, I have Fallout for a game that lost sound only. Can you help? I have tried to reinstall and it's still no sound it from stream. I have Fallout for game. Fallout. Is Fallout the name of a computer game? It lost sound. Okay, so it might be a sound setting through his card or in the game. I have tried to reinstall the game, I presume, and it still has no sound, and it's coming from the stream. So I would come down to the speaker button in the bottom right corner. I'm moving my mouse down. It's underneath my picture right there. It's like right there where I'm moving the mouse. See that? And right click on that. Oh, I got to turn the picture off, I guess. Yeah, so when you right click on the speaker, you get these things here. So let's see, volume mixer, is that the right place I want to go? Yeah, because here, while you have that game open, you'll probably see a panel here, a column here for that game. If I scroll out here to the right, there's other things. I've got Zoom open right now. So check to see if there's a specific setting for that game on your computer, for that app, and pull the volume all the way up, because you could have volume selectively down or muted for any particular of these items. And what else then? Let's see, would app permissions? No, because it's not a microphone, it's your sound. You're not getting speakers from it. And it's from Steam. Okay, so Steam is a game, gaming engine underneath on the back side. What else would it be? So that my presumption is you're getting sound from everywhere else. If you go play a YouTube video, you get sound. If you do another game, you get sound. And that's what drives me to that place that I showed you. So let's right click on the speaker, volume mixer, and then go look for that specific app. And then the next thing would be inside the program itself, and go look for the settings. Eric, if you want to come on to a Zoom session with me, let me connect remotely to your computer during one of these Windows dailies. Send me an email at this address, and we'll set that up so that you know when we're going to do that. I'd love to help you with that. Coming back, Rick says, thanks, Doug. Catherine, I have the non-smart switch version. Dennis, I was going to use it in pfSense environment, but I don't have a computer available for running pfSense. pfSense being a firewall device that you would have, you could run it on a separate computer or any kind of bots. I think probably even on Linux to give yourself extra security. And I don't, why would, they're kind of independent of each other. You don't have to have a smart switch because you're using pfSense, and you don't have to use pfSense if you're using a smart switch. So I think that was just overall ambition, what he wanted to do. Forb and Colossus, need to check Oh, by the way, Ken Stout does not have a premiere or a live stream today. At least that's what he said on his show last night. I'll go see if he's stuck to that. Oh, I saw his name in chat. Yeah, he's got nothing showing there. Oops, I should check over here and see if there's a... Nope, he didn't change his mind, so still nothing there. Thought I saw him in here somewhere. Orban Colossus, need to check what the ISP promises. Download speeds are a range typically. Yes, and they will never be the same. I've seen some people do speed tests and then they say, okay, on this computer, I get this XY download and this much upload. Yeah, we'll do the test again 10 seconds later, 2 minutes later. They're not very stable. And then also there are other people using the same connection. I didn't well, I guess I did specify that with our other one over here with Paul, because I said disconnect everything else. Download speeds on a range typically. Also, which test site being used? Google speed test and try more than one. Yeah, well, yeah, you're going to get different numbers, and you could get widely different numbers. And sometimes ISPs want you to use a specific speed test, and that might be because they want to know that you're testing the speed between them and a known site that their equipment is responsible for. If your connection is going out to some other site somewhere else in the world, then that throws in all those other variables. But since Paul had the ISP out there, I would expect that they're using their known test capabilities. Now, also, I don't think Paul said whether the ISP, like if they bring in their own laptop, connect it to the LAN side of their equipment, that's a good test. But if they're just using their app or just checking what the modem is claiming or what their home office is claiming they see, that's not at all convincing. If they bring in their own computer on the LAN side of your computer with nothing else connected and they show good numbers, then that proves the problem's on your side somewhere, the LAN side. Not pointing fingers. I have no idea where the actual problem is, but you need to find the true actual problem. And there might be more than one that's causing the problem. Maybe you could use an Orange Pi too for pfSense. True. Speedtest.net, I guess Brian's favorite speed test. I just use the Google speed test. I just Google it, clicks right there. I don't need the exact numbers. I just want to see if I'm getting something reasonable. And there is no such thing as exact numbers because all these different speed tests, they're speed testing different ways. They're doing different amounts of data, different whatever all they're doing. Is this a gigabit router, not an old-fashioned 100 megabit router? Well, it's not really clear for Paul about the router, because what he's told us, and I think I'm recalling from his previous, is that I think he's referring to the amplifier outside, which I believe means it's fiber optic coming into the device. And that it also might be would that be a shared fiber optic with the neighborhood? I don't think so. I think each person gets a dedicated fiber. I don't know. If there's other load upstream from the fiber, does that slow down your connection? Because of course, remember they say up to 1.2 gigabits per second. Hey, 400 megabits per second, they haven't exceeded the number they promised that you would be below. Yeah, they always give us up to. Oh, you're only getting a quarter of that? Well, what's your complaint? We said you wouldn't get over that. You're not getting over that. So chill out. They don't they don't often tell us what we're promised or guaranteed as a minimum. Wish they would. Old routers, well, assumption is since they have gigabit equipment that if it's, now he said he's renting the device from the ISP, but does he have a router downstream from that? And is it through that he's measuring it? We don't know. Old routers are still fantastic, but limited. Old routers are still fantastic, but the limited, try another computer. Oh, but they're limited. Maybe that's what it was. All right. Brian, ISPs advertise their plans up to 1 gigabits per second. Keywords are up to. You're not guaranteed to actually get it. Now, how low your actual speed is considered permissible varies by the ISP. Yeah, when you call them and say that you're only getting 96% of that up to speed, I don't think you're going to get much help or sympathy from them. Of course, Paul was getting much lower. Try another computer. I have 2 computers in my household that have issues getting the proper download speed. It has to do with bad drivers, the card installed. One method that is inexpensive to get around a lot of internet problems is purchase a USB to Ethernet adapter or USB Wi-Fi adapter and give it a try and see if you get the promised speeds. I have had numerous occasions where a laptop, for instance, well, any computer, laptop or desktop, with Wi-Fi or with Ethernet, buying an external USB or replacing the onboard Ethernet adapter has solved problems. And it could be because the old device is a lower technology, lower capability, or that it's just not working right. And I don't think we heard from Paul about multiple computers as he's tried with. Jeff, Brian, you are correct. Brian's last comment was about the advertised speeds. But if the plan description is accurate, you should expect to get around 80%. I feel good about that. I feel 80% is a reasonable expectation of the advertised up to speed, right? And that's not the advertised speed, it's the advertised up to speed. Get 80% of that, hey, I'm happy. Under normal circumstance, my ISP WeLink agrees with this. Well, where did I jump to? Oh my, am I that far behind? Oh, good grief, good gollies. It's 9:32. So I will read through the rest of these later. Kind of looks like there's not much else unique from here. Scanning through quickly, and hello to the people that I've not yet said hello to. Let's see, amusingly, I've gotten the highest bit rates when downloading Linux ISOs. My Spectrum connection is rated for up to 300 megabits per second. Download. Golf, did a grin. I have seen broken wire in the laptop Ethernet port result bad speed. Yes, he's renting the modem. I thought, yes, but we don't know if that's a router. Is it just a modem and then he has his own router? And can he plug a computer directly into the ISP's modem? He might have to configure a static IP address on his computer in order to accomplish that, but it's probably doing DHCP. So if he connects directly to the LAN port, if it's only one port on that modem, a modem will typically only have one outlet port, one outbound port. If it's got multiple LAN ports, then that's a router as well as a modem. And as Gary pointed out, also referred to as a gateway. Renting the modem, clarify if use internet connections being provided with fiber optics. The only reason I think it's fiber optics is because he says there's that amplifier outside. And I think that Gary doesn't that mean that it is fiber? What did he call it? Let's see, I think the replaced a bad amplifier. Is amplifier a term that's fiber and never other than fiber? I don't really know that. I've seen broken wire laptop. Oh yeah, I said that. Renting the modem, fastest 1 gig. Let's see, as opposed to slowest 1 gig. Is he referring to his own? Okay, I'm going to have to read through these more detail later because I need to go ahead and end this. I've got a couple of clients waiting for me to call them back. So there. Yeah, that's it. There's my email address. If you want to send me a question that I can cover on another day, or you'd like to propose that we do a session together where I connect remotely to your computer, come in on a Zoom session, we talk through your issue. And Gary says the amplifier can be on a line for cable. So no, I don't know whether that was a cable, internet, or fiber optic. Lawn Dog, in a cable delivered system, there are oftentimes amplifiers put in the house because a single cable going through multiple cable splitters signal degrades. Yeah. So there could be something still going on like with that the ISP hasn't correctly diagnosed, but yeah. That's all. What am I supposed to do now? I hope that was useful. Have a great day. Catch you later. Goodbye.